Strategic bombing played a key role in weakening the German industry during World War II. However, the U.S. 8th Air Force learned how costly it could be to operate deep into Germany without sufficient fighter escort. During the infamous Schweinfurt-Regensburg mission, particularly the day known as Black Thursday, October 14, 1943, the U.S. lost dozens of B-17 bombers and hundreds of crew members in a single blow due to heavy German interceptions. This harsh lesson stimulated the development of long-range fighters, such as the P-51 Mustang, which later turned the tide in the air war over Europe.
1982, Israel launched a large-scale attack on Syrian air defense systems in the Bekaa Valley. This operation, better known as Operation Mole Cricket 19, was a masterpiece of electronic warfare, drones, enemy air defenses, and precision weaponry. In a short period, the Israeli Air Force neutralized an entire Syrian air defense radar system and dozens of MiG fighters, with minimal losses of their own. It was a decisive demonstration of how advanced technology and tactics can determine the outcome of a conflict. In June 1967, Israel launched Operation Focus, a daring and decisive airstrike that changed the course of the Six-Day War. In the early hours of June 5, Israel's Air Force executed a preemptive strike, destroying over 300 enemy aircraft on the ground, crippling Egypt, Syria, and Jordan's air forces before they could take off. This swift and bold action gave Israel total air superiority, allowing them to dominate the battlefield and ultimately secure a stunning victory in just 6 days. Operation Focus remains a key example of how innovation, strategy, and surprise can reshape the outcome of war. Although they receive less attention in many Western overviews, the air battles on the Eastern Front during World War II were just as extensive. Especially in 1943, over the Kuban, and during the Battle of Kursk, hundreds to thousands of aircraft were often deployed by both the Soviet Air Force and the German Luftwaffe. The daily confrontations resulted in enormous losses on both sides. These massive aerial battles accelerated the depletion of the Luftwaffe and marked the beginning of a period of growing air superiority for the Soviets, which would later translate into success on the front lines. During the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot in June 1944, a decisive aerial battle took place during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. The U.S. Navy, with its superior radar and trained pilots, decimated the Japanese fleet's air forces. In just a few hours, they shot down over 400 Japanese aircraft, while suffering minimal losses themselves. This overwhelming victory crippled Japan's ability to defend its fleet and marked a turning point in the Pacific War, giving the U.S. air dominance for the remainder of the conflict. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, aiming to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet. In less than 2 hours, over 2,400 Americans were killed and 200 aircraft were destroyed. The attack thrust the United States into World War II, marking a pivotal moment in history and changing the course of the war. In June 1942, the Battle of Midway turned the tide of the Pacific War. After cracking Japanese code, the U.S. Navy set a trap for Japan's fleet. In a decisive clash, American forces sank 4 Japanese aircraft carriers Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, dealing a crippling blow to Japan's naval strength. The victory not only halted Japan's expansion, but also gave the U.S. a strategic advantage in the Pacific. In May 1942, the Battle of the Coral Sea became the first major naval clash fought entirely by aircraft. The U.S. and Australia teamed up to stop Japan's advance toward Australia. Despite heavy losses on both sides, the Allies successfully halted Japan's invasion plans by sinking the aircraft carrier Shoho and damaging the Shokaku. Though a tactical draw, it was a strategic victory that shifted the balance of power in the Pacific. In the summer of 1940, The Battle of Britain saw the Royal Air Force defend England against relentless attacks by Nazi Germany's Luftwaffe. Over several months, British pilots fought to protect key cities and airfields, with the Luftwaffe aiming to gain air superiority for a potential invasion. Despite being outnumbered, the RAF's resilience, radar technology, and strategic tactics forced Hitler to abandon his invasion plans, marking a crucial victory for Britain in World War II. In September 1918, during World War I, the Battle of St. Mihiel marked the first major independent U.S. offensive. Led by General Pershing, American forces, alongside French troops, launched a surprise attack on the German-held St. Mihiel salient in northeastern France. In just 3 days, the Allies pushed back German forces, securing a key victory and proving the effectiveness of the American military in the war's final stages. It was a decisive step towards the eventual Allied victory.